Researchers work on things to help us lay people comprehend volcanoes. The truth, obviously, is more complicated. Every spring of gushing lava is special. Volcanologists should gain proficiency with every person, character and history when they attempt to help individuals living nearby. With restricted assets, however, how would you pick which volcanoes to consider? Here's the means by which, when the United Nations made the 1990s its International Decade of Natural Hazard Reduction, volcanologists chose to zero in on 16 volcanoes, 2 each from the US, Japan, and Italy, 1 each from 10 other countries. One of these decade volcanoes, Taal, in the Philippines, is standing out as truly newsworthy at the present time. Population at risk, 1.5 million people. Last known eruption, 2019. Colima, a complex volcanic focus close to the western shore of Mexico, presents numerous dangers, as well as being a danger to populous focuses. For a certain something, it has successive fierce emissions, like the one here in 2017, got on observing cameras. Almost the entire decade volcanoes are in subduction zones, which as a rule produce unstable volcanism. Such blasts cause impacts, ballistic rocks and magma bombs, and pyroclastic streams. As should be obvious, they even touch off out-of-control fires. What's more, Colima does this again and again. In past centuries, it has additionally had a few huge trash slides. After making the decade volcano list, new risk maps were made for Colima and its observing post was rebuilt. Population at risk, almost 2 million people. Last known eruption, 2014. A misfortune occurred at this level bested stratovolcano in 1993, when a few travelers, just as 6 volcanologists, who were partaking in a decade volcano workshop, were executed by a surprising emission. Movement at Gale as previously and during that hazardous field trip was intensely observed, obviously. However, nobody had at any point before seen the seismic signs called tornillos that came not long before the blast. Now everybody realizes that tornillos are cautioning indications of unavoidable dangerous action, a logical disclosure that conveyed a substantial expense. Gale is one of Colombia's most dynamic volcanoes. Its firecrackers in 2008 light up the sky over the close-by city of Pasto. Risks incorporate trash streams, enormous ejections with weighty debris fall, and pyroclastic streams. Population at risk, almost 3 million people. Last known eruption, 1450 AD. Eruptions during the 1800s have been reported but not confirmed. This world popular milestone close to Seattle, Washington, had its last huge impact, of 4 emission, around 2,200 years prior. However, that is not by any means the only danger. Mount Rainier, which is vigorously glaciated, will in general fall, causing colossal mudstreams. This hasn't occurred during recorded history. The occupants of Armero, Colombia, weren't so blessed in 1985. While their ice-covered fountain of liquid magma, called Nevado del Ruiz, didn't fall, its magma liquefied culmination glacial masses and sent down a mud flow that immersed Armero on different networks, slaughtering more than 23,000 people. There was bunches of caution. Yet no one anticipated this. Thousands passed on who might have basically run a couple hundred yards to security. The Armero misfortune was a central point behind both the UN risk decrease assertion and the Decade Volcano Project. Partly because of this consideration, Mount Rainier currently has better checking and peril planning. 2. Some enactment is set up to lessen future advancement in high-hazard zones and advance public familiarity with the dangers here. In any case, numerous individuals close to Rainier are as yet willfully ignorant. That is justifiable, however extremely pitiful. It's human instinct to never truly accept that something awful can happen to you, until it does. Population at risk, 2.6 million people. Last known eruption, 2019. You probably won't have known about this fountain of liquid magma, which sits on a similar island as Mount Fuji, yet farther south. The incredibly famous Fuji-san is a desperate danger to Tokyo and the subject of exceptional examination. Maybe the decade volcano determination board went with Sakurajima rather on the grounds that this risky fountain of liquid magma isn't too known. All things considered, you haven't seen the above occurring in Tokyo recently, but that 2013 video shows one of the dangers that residents of Kagoshima City, under 5 miles from Sakurajima, regularly face. Sakurajima volcano used to be an island in Kagoshima Bay until 1914, when one of its hazardous ejections likewise released magma streams that associated it to the mainland. Now a huge number of individuals live nearby. Kids there wear hard hats, simply on the off chance that it downpours stones while in transit to class. Population at risk: 6,200,000 people. Last eruption, 2019. This isn't two separate volcanoes. Similarly as with the Vachinsky and Koryaksky on Kamchatka. Here, Santa Claus Maria is a stratovolcano and Sant'Agito is the thing that individuals call the magma arch complex close to the culmination. Sant'Agito has successive minor emissions. Additionally, the arches now and then break down, which cause pyroclastic streams. Bigger blasts and mudflows are likewise possible. Nevertheless, bunches of individuals actually appreciate climbing 12,300-foot high Santa Maria so they can peer down on an emission and take senseless pictures. That arch complex has existed since 1929, when Santa Maria finished 27 years of rough emissions that slaughtered more than 7,000 individuals. In any case, Santa Maria/Sant'Agito's decade volcano status hasn't prompted numerous administration-financed projects yet. Guatemala has parts volcanoes that request consideration. Authorities actually should be persuaded that readiness before another significant ejection here will be more affordable than adapting to the fallout of one later. Population at risk: 67,500. Less known eruption, 1950. Volcanologists are interested about the ejection history that gave Santorini, otherwise called Thera, its sensational appearance. They have distinguished at any rate 4 caldera-shaping occasions in the course of the most recent 180,000 years. The latest, about 3,600 years prior, was of 7 eruption. That's the one that may have destined Reno in progress, which fixated on the close-by island of Crete. Or then again not. Nobody is quite certain yet what shut down that astounding society. On account of the decade volcano program, Santorini currently has its first present-day well of lava observatory. Up until now, it has distinguished just incidental multitudes of seismic action, nothing that resembles an approaching ejection. Population at risk: 766,000 people. Last known eruption, 1909. In reality, the whole island of Tenerife is a complex of stratovolcanoes that have been dynamic since the Miocene times. Tide is only the most elevated, and furthermore one of the most youthful. Tide sits in 6 by 11 mile wide Las Canadas caldera, and the view from the top is enormous. Those sulfur-delivering fumaroles up there are the solitary noticeable indication of current action. Tide has additionally had some seismic tremor swarms, however is usually tranquil. Population at risk: 61,000 people. Last known eruption, 2019. You probably won't have known about this island spring of gushing lava in the South Pacific, yet, alongside commitments from a similarly dark Russian fire mountain, Ala'an gave you purple nightfalls a year ago. Ala'an is one of Papua New Guinea's most dynamic volcanoes. Its emissions, however unstable, used to be genuinely minor until the 1970s. Starting thereon, bigger impacts turned out to be more normal, remembering a 4 ejection for 2000. At the occasion, this stunning tropical stratovolcano is again carrying on like one of the Daily Planet's easygoing journalists. We'll simply need to remain tuned and see what occurs straight away. Population at risk: 7,300,000 people. Last known eruption, 1996. Indeed, this is the one that executed volcanologists Harry Glicken, Claudia Kraft, and Morris Kraft, alongside 40 others in 1993. Unzen isn't such a lot of a solitary fountain of liquid magma as it is a mashup of 3 enormous stratovolcanoes and a few magma vaults, taking up a large portion of the Shimabara Peninsula east of Nagasaki. Pyroclastic streams are significant peril here. Also, some of the time imploding material falls into the ocean, producing tidal waves like the one of every 1792 that represented the majority of the 14,000 or more setbacks from Unzen that year. Unzen stirred in 1990, constraining departures and obliterating in excess of 2,000 structures close to Shimabara City. Everything hushes up now, yet when Unzen blends once more, movement conjectures will be more exact because of information got from decade volcano examines and other examination. Population at risk, more than 6 million people last known eruption, 1944. You realized Vesuvius would be on the rundown, all on account of the video above. Yes, that is what a 5 ejection resembles close up. The lone commonplace volcanic perils not appeared in this movement are magma, gas, and waves. However, these all asserted casualties that day, as well. Pyroclastic streams, magma, and gas have executed individuals and caused monstrous harm during other Vesuvius ejections, remembering the last one for the 1940s. Torrent-producing avalanches into Naples Bay were conceivable, too. While everybody has known about the dangers here for quite a long time, the issue was first tended to during the Decade Volcano program. Presently, crisis plans dependent on the Pompeii ejection and another amazing emission in 1631 are set up and audited regularly. It's difficult to clear Naples and encompassing zones. Yet Vesuvius won't get researchers and crisis faculty resting the following time it thunders to life. The most exceedingly terrible spring of gushing lava on the planet is continually going to be the one ejecting close to you, if it's on a logical rundown. Yet because of the Decade Volcano program, exercises have been discovered that assist individuals with enduring and deal with a volcanic emergency any place it happens.